Welcome, welcome everyone. We are live. And welcome to Leroy Truth Investigations live show. I am Leroy Truth, yours truly, and I have special guests today with me, the armed fisherman. And he's awesome. He's someone I've been watching for a while. And what I like about him is he's respectful, he's professional, he's grounded, and he's committed to making a difference. Now, make sure, ask your friends, call your neighbors, wake the neighbors if you need to, get the pets, gather them here, get some popcorn. We have a banger of a show for you today. And the theme is two twin cities of greed, the rotten underbelly of mayors exposed. And I want to make something very clear, everybody, is that we are making no statements of fact when we are talking about Mayor Brian Stack, Mayor Debbie Fisher King, and Mayor Kathleen Foley. We are just investigating allegations. So we are making no statements of fact whatsoever, myself or the armed fisherman. And we're investigative journalists. We are investigating. And I want to give a shout out to a number of people: Huntington Town Watch, Danny's Thoughts, Citizens Broadcasting, Claudette, Dan B, Keeping the Swine, Not So Slim Jim, Rocky Mountain, and just name a few. So this is going to be a great show, and I want to bring right up on stage right now the one and only armed fisherman. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this because it's something that needs to be talked about.
Right, it does. And why corruption is successful is when it isn't exposed to the light of day. And my mission and the armed fisherman, AKA Mike, we are committed to exposing the truth. And that's why I underline, we're not making any statements of fact, but we share with you videos. We share with you people who are speaking about their experiences, because corruption happens in the darkness. Corruption hates the light of transparency. So Mike, how did you end up going, because you were doing a lot of auditing, and can you share, because Mike's a very unique auditor. He audits with a gun, right, with a rifle. And so briefly, for my audience, and also many people will see this after the live, what's been your main thing, and why that particular approach?
Well, it all started, I was out there trying to expose a law that most people didn't even know about with their gun rights. Here in Florida, we're not traditionally an open carry state. I got my first gun. I was like, how do I carry this without a permit? Well, I found fishing, hunting, and camping was one of the exceptions we have. Long story short, basically picked up my gun, picked up my fishing pole, and started open carrying. I had, and for almost I'd say about 4 to 5 years, I had some really bad experiences. I've had ARs pointed at me for doing nothing unlawful. Got flat on the ground, had my property taken, detained, all this stuff. And all I was trying to do was educate not just the public, but law enforcement as well. And it took me about 5 years to do that. And then here I am today. And it's not that I don't open carry. It's just I can open carry, but they don't show up. So it's not that I wanted to shift my vision. I wanted to really start looking at why are we looking at so many towns and cities complaining about their politicians that are supposed to be working for them. And next thing you know, I was going to Clearwater. I'm getting pulled into Killeen. I'm pulled into Dalton. I'm pulled into New Mexico. I'm pulled into all these places, and now it's exposing this corruption that we pay them to steal our money. And that's what I'm noticing now, or they want to strip you of your rights.
Right, you're absolutely right. And my focus initially, Mike, on my channel was police accountability. And one of the things that some people have got upset about is I've met some good police officers. There's people who do want to do the right thing, and some people are very polarized, and where they say, all cops are bad, all politicians are bad, all newspapers are bad, and that doesn't create bridges. And so one of the things is that I look at, and tell me your perspective on this, Mike, as well, we look at, say, police culture and, some bad cops in the mix, but where does it come from? It always comes from the top, right?
Top. Yep.
So
Top.
why we can't change something in the middle? You've got to go to the head. And who is the head in these government situations?
Whether it be the mayor, whether it be the city manager, the chief of police, they are the leaders. So if the leader doesn't, show that leadership, it just trickles down, and when nobody's held accountable, it seems to run amok. And I've got some places here in Florida that they seem to be on a whole, like, I do what I want type of level, and I'm not that person. I don't want special treatment. We should just all know that these are the laws that you guys, it's the oath that they took. If they were just to follow the oath and the laws that they're given, things would probably go a lot smoother, but that's not the case.
Right. You're absolutely right. And the culture of any organization, I don't care if it's a phone company, if it's an electronics company, or the government, they're all corporations. And the culture is always created by the head. So my mission has shifted to laser focus profoundly. It started with Cold Spring and the insane, very mean, as I've found, the meanest mayor in America, Kathleen Foley, in Village of Cold Spring, New York. And then when I went to Union City with Good Guy Activism, Mike, this is how I came to Union City. He just happened to say, hey, let's check Union City out today. All right. Didn't know it from Adam. Go in there. No idea what kind of hornet's nest opened up. And here's the thing, is this guy, I use that term loosely, this guy, Mayor Brian P. Stack, I don't know what the P stands for. Someone put it in a chat. And you can be creative if you want as well. But Brian P. Stack, with all the alleged, and again, I'm saying this clearly, the alleged corruption over 23 years, can you believe the thing that's probably going to bring his empire down was because he retaliated against a police officer who did the right thing while I was recording in City Hall? Out of all the things he's allegedly done, and I'm going to show you some, and by the way, Sam, big shout out to Sam. She does some great research, and she just gave me a whole slew of articles to show here. And out of all things, it's the ego gets them, right, Mike? Like, and what's her name officially? Mayor Debbie something there. Mayor Debbie Nash King. So, how is her ego, from your observation?
The funny thing is she was a military person. She was in I believe it was the Army, and for her to come from the Army and to go into this and just shut people down, and just the blatant disrespect to the citizens, that is a huge problem. The citizens are trying to discuss their problems, and when she doesn't care and slams her gavel and's like, no, get them out of here, those are some serious issues. And once again, if they just followed that constitution, things go smoothly. I mean, for anybody, even for me, I'm not claiming to be this big public figure, but I'm a public figure. I put myself out there, and I have to accept criticism. And that's what I'm seeing in a lot of these town halls or city halls. They don't like criticism. And when they don't like it to a point, they're willing to do whatever they can to shut people down, quiet them, silence them, arrest them, all types of stuff.
Right. Absolutely. And when so many elected officials get elected, they, instead of realizing and confirming that they are public servants, they think they are public masters. And it is the biggest epidemic is ego master complexes that these politicians get. It's absolutely crazy. And here I'm going to share just a few headlines, and make sure, Scalzo, you can see my screen here. And I'm going to share the whole screen. And let's see. Okay, entire screen. And just let me know it's coming through here. I'm going to share a few book headlines here. Take a look at this, and let me know when it's live there. See, and just some random mayors. This is a mayor, has no regrets over signing off email, go F yourself. Is that something that, this is all over the world, this takes place. Then we have, in corruption, New York City Mayor Eric Adams' legal defense fund raises over $650,000. Now it's actually over $700,000. Why does he need almost $1 million to defend himself? I look a little deeper. New York Mayor Eric Adams accused of sexual assault in 1993. How do these people get elected? And here, let's look at a couple more here. Mississippi mayor faces possible assault charges. That's not right. And here, these are just some random people I found. Michigan mayor tried to stop constituents from criticizing her. Now they're suing. And I'm going to show you, Mike, and everyone, a short video of this mayor, 2-minute video of what she did. And
hearing of the public is now open. You're not going to sit here and assault me, lady I never met. Don't call my name because I don't know what book you're reading, and I don't care. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop you right there, or we're gonna stop the council meeting.
Here, you gotta let her speak.
This is a personal matter. It's not about criticizing. You can criticize my policy. You stop it.
Let the people talk.
You stop it. You are out of line. You are out of line.
You're out of point of order.
You're out of line. Now, do you want to stand there and talk about your cats and your dogs in the community, but you won't talk about me?
All right. Bring that down, Scalzo. Bring that off. Just change the city, and you have the same freaking thing. And what's your thoughts on that, Mike?
That is unreal. Like, for a politician to say those words, and one really stuck out to me, I've heard it before, is I don't care. When you hear that come out of the words of any politician, any law enforcement about your rights, and they start saying that, that is leading down the dictatorship, and they have to be exposed at that point. We have to do, I'm only one person and I can only do so much from Florida, but I will expose it to try to shine light on it that the people wake up.
Right, absolutely. And that's what we do. Basically, what Mike does as the armed fisherman, what I do, even though many so-called mainstream or legacy journalists, they don't consider us journalists, I don't consider them journalists. Now, I've talked to some really good journalists today, some really good editors today, and I'll keep them unnamed so they don't get retaliated against. But they do exist. But for the most part, there's so much collusion that occurs between a mayor and the local media. And I'm finding that in Union City. New Jersey Globe, I'm talking to you, New Jersey Globe. And they wouldn't run an ad. I want to run an ad. They said, okay, we'll run an ad. You can run an ad. Then they found out who I was. Oh, no, this isn't the right place for you. This is the largest newspaper in New Jersey. And they rejected $3,000 that I was going to pay them to run this ad. And you ran into the same thing, Mike, right? That you found in Killeen.
Yep, Killeen's the same way. They have a company that's primarily in Killeen called KBH. It's Killeen something Herald or something. But anyway, in a nutshell, this is the majority of all the news. Like, there's not a Fox 35 or whatever inside this town. You have to go to Austin, which is 40 minutes, I believe, south of Killeen. So if Austin's not picking it up, the mayor is just going to feed what they want, and then maybe we'll talk about that person that got fired because of the mayor. The mayor, there was a guy that worked inside KBH and got fired because he didn't take a picture quick enough.
All right, can you believe that? And again, the collusion that the local media will not get out the real news, just like the Village of Cold Spring. They're in collusion. They are the diary, the public diary of whatever Mayor Kathleen Foley writes about me. They just write it. They never talk with me. The same with Killeen, Texas. They will only write things, for the most part, that are supportive of that mayor. And the same with Union City, New Jersey, and Brian Stack. And he controls almost everyone, but not everyone, as I found out. Again, I talked to two really good journalists today. And really happy about that. But here is the quote of the day, ladies and gentlemen. if we don't have a free press, we don't have a free country. Bottom line. And we found that 3 different cities, Armed Fishermen, Killeen, Texas, myself, Union City, New Jersey, Village of Cold Spring, New York. Most of the press is in collusion with the mayor. And that's just like communist China. That's no different than North Korea, no different than Russia. So what do you think?
No, you're right. You're 100% right, because that's what they want to tell the people. You know, it's all propaganda for them. It's like, hey, you have to believe this because that's all you see. But when you actually go out in the real world and you see it for yourself and you open your eyes and you see it, the hard part is having a voice, you know, and I think we're both lucky enough that we have a voice, whether it be on YouTube or through a newsletter or whatever. We have a voice, and we implore everybody to be that voice inside your city. If you see these things, even if it's just trash pickup, speak your mind at council meetings, and hopefully they will listen. If they don't, you know, dig into it. There's a reason why they don't want to listen to you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to show a few more headlines here, and check this out. And this is completely relevant to us here. So look at this here. Another Mississippi mayor faces possible assault charges, but take a look at this. So this is the mayor we just saw. She tried to stop her masters, she's the servant, from talking. Now they're suing. See, Mike, they got together. And check this out. I hope you can all see this. This is from Municipal Law News. Public bodies cannot prohibit expression of opinions or criticism of public officials during public comment without evidence of disruption. So they love to say, you're disrupting us, you're disrupting us. When, of course, you know, freedom of speech is not disruption. And if they don't like our freedom of speech, that's exactly what the First Amendment is for. It's not for things we agree with, right, Mike? It's for things that we don't agree with. Because as we talked earlier today, if one person, or if everyone is agreeing in a room, it means one person is doing the thinking. What did you say, Mike, before about the city council there?
They just, if they do what they want. If they don't care, it's scary. That's the scary part about all of, for me, is when they don't care and it's just the way they want it and they kick you out, that you have there's no more freedom of speech, you know. And when you are limited, you know, even for public comment, that they should just suck it up for 3 minutes, or 4 minutes or whatever. Just suck it up,
right?
And just, you know, but
right, you're right. The thing is, however, they shouldn't suck it up. This is the problem. They should be attentively listening, because you know what? And I know, Mike, the short time we've known each other, and myself as well, we welcome criticism. We welcome honest, direct feedback. We don't get offended. I just got someone, I'll say this candidly to everybody. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning every day that I do the work I'm doing. Mike, the same way. But why I continue to grow is because I'm open to receiving feedback. And I had a gentleman on my show the other day, Jonathan Farley, whose mother was ripped from her home unlawfully, 84-year-old, award-winning, amazing educator, ripped from her home by police with no court order and forced into a nursing home against her will. And at one point, I was talking with Scalzo, just some behind-the-scenes things I needed to address, but I should have not been on camera when Jonathan was talking. It was distracted to people. Someone was very straight with me. Hey, I love your channel, Leroy, but hey, you know, you messed up on that. And I wrote back, thank you. And you're the same way. But what is the mayor of Killeen like? Does she receive criticism?
Not anymore. They voted unanimously to take away public comment that's not on the agenda. So if it's on the agenda, their agenda, you can criticize somewhat of them, but when you start to criticize them, they chime in, they start speaking out, trying to quiet you. And that would be the same thing about some of the thing with the news group there. When people talk about that news group and this audio, they are so quick to be like, no, that's not on the agenda. You can't talk about that. If it's something they don't want you to talk about, they shut you down, kick you out, or even possibly have a council member try to beat you up in the middle of a council meeting.
Which we're going to show parts of the video today, Mike.
Yeah.
And I just got this from someone, and this is from the Liberty Cause just sent me this. Just tonight, breaking news, Deltona City Commission meeting. Tonight, they refused to show a citizen on camera because it's recorded. What was the citizen doing? They were dressed as a clown to make a point to the commission, and they refused to let that person on camera. That is a chilling concern, as simple as it may be, right, Mike?
It's all public record, and we want to be put on the record. Like these videos, if they're doing live streams or they just upload them, it is a record of something. And sure, you can hear it, but there's you like wearing a shirt or having, whether it be a clown suit or having something that says, hey, this symbolizes something. That is the very purpose of that First Amendment, is saying, hey, I'm really trying to bring home a point and you won't even address me publicly. And I think that's really disgusting. They're doing that in Clearwater. They're doing that. I think it was in Dalton, where they basically try not to put the public on camera if they don't have to.
Right. And that's a problem, because we have a guaranteed right to redress our government. We have a human right to redress our government, but the Constitution, again, it doesn't grant us rights, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people, even a lot of auditors, will say, oh, the Constitution grants me this or that. No, it doesn't. The Constitution is there to assure that the government protects basic human rights, and so that the government doesn't become more powerful than us. That there's always a check and balance. And now they're shutting us down. Mayor Foley did the same thing. Mike, the same thing. She initially said only items on the agenda will be allowed. Well, whose agenda is it? It's my agenda. It's your agenda, Mike. It's you, we the people, all the viewers watching this now. It's our agenda. It is not their agenda. You can't do that. But she found that I still was speaking anyway. I didn't give a shite about that. So then she said, well, he's not respecting that. He's talking about non-agenda items. So I'm going to get rid of all speech. So she voted by default. Going forward, there are no public comments allowed unless they vote to allow them, which means when Leroy is there, they have comments. And guess what? I wasn't there last week. So on the Zoom meeting, Leroy wasn't there. Miraculously, this is what the mayor said. Now it's time to the public comments. I'm kind of a bitch. I'm sorry, you're getting some Tourette's. And she said this part here. Does everyone feel comfortable with allowing public comments? Could you believe, Mike, she said that? And then they all voted using aye, and then one guy talked. So this is nuts. It's our agenda, everybody. Anytime you go to a council meeting, there could be nothing on their agenda that you want to talk about, but there's something in your community that you do want to talk about, you want to bring to light. That is what public comment's all about. Not every time, like I can look at any agenda for these council meetings and I'm like, yeah, I could probably speak on this one, I could probably speak on that, but when I have something inside my heart that I really need to get off my chest and see if they'll listen to make a change, it could be as simple as just a crossing walk that they ignore. And it's like just something that simple. But if you say it in the wrong way, oh, you're being offensive and you're disrupting the meeting, you got to go. And that's what a lot of people are getting at these meetings. I watched one in Ohio. Dude, the guys were out there just expressing their frustration with what the city was doing. They kicked them out, arrested them, they sued them, and won $300,000. Right. And the thing is, they've got to listen to us. They don't represent their interests. Mayor Brian Stack, allegedly over 23 years, represents his interests more than I've seen any other human being. Mayor, and what's her official name? Debbie Nash King.
Debbie Nash King, yeah.
Nash King. There will be a gnashing of teeth anytime someone even thinks of this woman. And we never mean anything personal against any of them, but they are public officials. Like you all criticize us, and many times rightfully so. And we can criticize them. They are not the apex in the government. They're supposed to be actually at the bottom of the government, serving us, and it's gotten so twisted. So a couple of things I'm going to do now is I want to introduce, we're going to show some videos in just a couple of minutes, and then this will be a call-in show. We will put the numbers to call in. You'll be able to talk with me or the armed fisherman Mike, ask questions. We want to hear what you think of this, because you have mayors who are corrupt. This is a major epidemic. They're all over the place, and they get away with it because we let them. And one of the things Mike underlined that he wanted to impress in this live stream today, this show, as well as my philosophy is what, as far as activism and doing something, Mike, what's that?
Get out there and do something. Don't, if there's something that bothers you, do it. Use your rights. Don't lose your rights, because a right not used is a right lost. And we're all, we're just one. I'm just one person. You're just one person. But to collectively, if we all stand together, they're going to start, hopefully, in the ways they should change. They should be changing their ways to say, hey, just because you don't like what I have to say, doesn't mean it's not valid.
Right. No, absolutely not. And the First Amendment protects offensive speech. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like, I profoundly condemn, racism, for example, profoundly. But if someone says something racist, I will hold their, to the line. I will hold them accountable. But they have a right to say it. Again, I condemn it. I'm using a very extreme example here, but we have to protect, the rights to speak. And again, we don't like something, we can condemn the hell out of them. We can, and so forth. But we have got to protect speech, even if it is offensive. That is so incredibly important. So I'm going to show a few more things. I want to introduce you to the official, who they are. I'm going to do a screen share here, Scott, so make sure it's good. And Sam, let me know who you are. I don't know who you are in the mix here, because I want to make you a moderator. And here we go. Hold on 1 minute. Stand by. And Sam is incredible, and it doesn't let me make you a moderator here, Sam. I got to do that online. Scouts, you know how to make Sam a moderator? She's the great rabble rouser. All right, I'm going to show you a couple things, ladies and gentlemen, and a couple things. Please smash that like button. That will get the word out to more people in YouTube algorithms. Also, if you like to do a super chat or a super thanks, never expected but always appreciated. And we do a lot of work here. Happy to share that with the armed fishermen as well, for joining me here.
And tell them how many hours you spend researching this. It's not like we're just like, oh, here's a little clip. No, there's hours upon hours of research. So maybe that 15-20 minute video you watched, we spent 2 hours trying to find all that information.
Oh yeah.
So
well, listen, my most recent video, I kept track. 17 hours. It was 11-minute video. My most recent video about Union City, 17 hours of work went into that video, ladies and gentlemen. People have, most people have no idea. And many of us do other things as well for this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's important. It's our mission. So we're going to continue to do that. So here, I'm going to share. Go ahead.
If you make $1 or you don't make $1, inside my heart, I'm doing what I feel is necessary to keep checks and balances within our government, even at the local level. Maybe one day I'll get big enough and I'll be able to, focus my energy on the federal level and start plugging that away. But until then, start small, get big.
Right. And that's right. You're absolutely right on with that. And the local level is where we're going to make the most difference, right now. And so I found I can make you a moderator here. So you should be a moderator there. All right, so check this out here, and I want to share this with everybody. We're going to introduce Mayor Brian Stack and Mayor of Killeen, Debbie Nash King, to you as well. And so check this out. So I just looked up Brian Stack, and look what I found. Look, he's a comedian. Wow, he's an American actor, comedian, and writer, best known for his sketch comedy work. Oh shoot, wrong Brian Stack. Damn, why couldn't he have been a comedian instead of an alleged corrupt mayor? Here we have. I just go to Wikipedia. That's a good place to go. Let's check out if there's any craziness here. Oh, controversies. Stack and the Union City Police were the subject of controversy in July 2005 when it was discovered that Stack had received 2 campaign contributions totaling $3,500 from Luisa Medrano. And I understand Stack loves contributions like crack people love crack, but even more.
Yeah.
And a tavern owner indicted on 31 counts of running an illegal immigrant smuggling ring out of her 2 Bergen Line Avenue taverns. And so there's some connection with Stack, and he denies it. He said, no, there's nothing. What's this? 2007. Stack was one of 3 legislators subpoenaed regarding the disbursement of at least 2 $100,000 grants that went to the Union City daycare, which is headed by Stack's estranged wife, Katya. Well, I got to give it to you, Brian. At least you have a good relationship with your ex-wife. A lot of people can't say that, but it looks like some various things may be going on there. The subpoena was based on a complaint by Republican activist Steve Sunnigan, who filed 36 conflict of interest complaints. Oh, what's this? In 2007, Stack was accused. These are accusations. I'm making no statements of fact. Mr. Brian P. Stack, I know you're watching me. Justin Merchado, I know you're watching me. And in 2007, Stack was accused by developer Ralph Lever of political favoritism in zoning and building approvals, alleging that Stack influenced the zoning board into voting against a residential building that Lever wished to build on his property because he was not a political favorite of Stack's. Pay to play. I have gotten probably 150 allegations of pay to play. Can all these people be lying, Mike? For God's sakes, no, I guess is no.
Yeah.
And look, $84 million later settling out of court for an undisclosed amount. And I want to hear what you have to say in a minute. Private use of municipal vehicles, accusations, his ex-wife, got a great relationship with his ex-wife, city law settlements. And the list goes on. Here's a few more. Let's just look at some headlines. Union City property owner accuses officials of playing politics with zoning projects. And thank you, Sam, for getting these to me. And Union City property owner accuses officials of playing same one. Whoops. Rage in the streets of North Bergen. And North Bergen, Union City Mayor Brian Stack and Murphy McCard to check on poll workers, only to find himself nose to nose with a Larry Weinstein backer. What else do we have here? Union City pastor, teacher's aide accuses Stack of uninvited sexual violation. I mean, this is nuts. And let's take a look. Oh, who's this? This is Debbie Nash King. Now, let's see Debbie. And let's see how many jobs Debbie does, Mike. Debbie does jobs. Debbie does lots of jobs. Debbie's public service. Miss Nash King currently serves, not only mayor, as a member of Harkers Heights Rotary Club, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. That sounds cool. Colleen Sister Cities, Osan Korean Committee, she speaks Korean. Colleen Branch, NAACP. I'm not going to read all this. This goes on and on and on. And so it's just, what are your thoughts, Mike?
It's funny how they work within all these organizations, other groups and Rotary clubs and this, that, but those are the same people that are that she works with that help fund her. So she works with that realtor that's in whatever sorority that she's in. She's going to keep her with the permits and deny other people permits. You know, they're seeing that right now. They're doing certain things where buildings are basically just sitting there and they sell them off. Somebody comes in, buys it for next to nothing, and it's the real estate owner of allegedly of her. You know, there's so many intertwined minglings that whatever's for her and whatever she get kickbacks from, she's all for. But if it's not for her, you're not going to get there.
No, and this is typical, ladies and gentlemen, because I know I have many people watching from Union City, New Jersey now. And I'm going to give a shout out to all of the police officers who have been doing a really good job. The Department of Public Works, Jose Garrido, who was the first whistleblower to come forward on video. I'm going to show you that video in just a couple of minutes, only a couple of minutes long. And he makes shocking allegations, Mike, of election intimidation personally by Mayor Brian Stack. I even have a letter he sends out to the city employees. Basically, it sure as hell looks like an intimidation to vote for him if I've ever seen him. And then we're going to go into some of the clean videos as well. And it's just nuts. So let's start off, Scalzo. And thanks, Scalzo Photo, my producer. Thank you so much for everything you do, my videographer. Also, John Denicola for my main moderator, as well as Sam, the great rabble rouser, my new co-moderator as well. And so let's check this out. And let's go to Jose. No, let's go to Detective Haber. And this was my first visit. Tell me where he's coming from. And this is my first visit to Union City, Mike. Again, I didn't know it from Adam. Detective Haber was an exemplary police officer. He literally, by the book, if I were to create a police officer from scratch, I had Clay, I had some AI, and pretty good looking guy too. And if I trained a police officer to be a professional, this is who it would be. And if anyone says, oh, this is, why are you saying a cop is good? Because I work with good police officers and I hold bad ones accountable. That's how it is. So play the scouts, let's play a bit of this.
He's allowed to, this is a public building. It's his First Amendment right. He's allowed to record in the building. As long as he doesn't trespass through certain doors, he's allowed to record. No bathrooms, obviously, like certain places of privacy. Other than that, if it's public, it's good to go. He's allowed to record.
Okay, good.
I'm glad you're educated. I am Leroy Truth. All right, Leroy, bring it down. And you know what happened, Mike, to him? Again, as I said earlier, out of all the possible allegations of corruption over 23 years that Mayor Brian Stack has done, this is his undoing. Retaliating against this police officer being a professional. Of all things, this would have been done. I would have moved on. I commended him for doing what a police officer is supposed to do and educating politely the city workers and moved on. But the mayor couldn't let a good deed go unpunished in Union City, and then the people started pouring in messages to me, phone calls, texts, emails. It's become a full-time job over the last 4 weeks. I'm going to spend 8 to 10 hours a day just on Union City, and I'm committed to exposing the truth. I've got nothing personally against Brian Stack, and if I find nothing, then I'll be the first to say, hey, he is the most innocent choir boy. He should have been Mother Teresa's brother. He's so clean. But I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff that it ain't looking too good for him. And here's the deal. I am so glad to have you here, Brian. Thanks so much for joining me. And so this is going to be his undoing. Now, show the first whistleblower, Scalzo. This is huge. This is the Department of Public Works whistleblower that speaks very clearly and courageously. Because people are terrified, Mike, of people coming up here.
First you give your ex-wife a car, now you're giving well-to-do people free rides.
Fox News did a piece on that, in the Shame Thanks segment. And he says, oh, Arnold.
Why?
I received a phone call, and the phone call was, why was it that I did not vote?
In Union City, New Jersey, longtime mayor, I'm going to skip ahead here to the interview. It's just 2 minutes. I want to play this for you here. Jose is a brave man, and you shouldn't have to be brave to speak the truth in a city. No. A mayor should not have, Mike, that much power. And I have so many people that want to come forward, but they haven't yet. And I'm hoping through the example of Jose Guerrero, Department of Public Works employee, long time in Union City, that other people will come forward, as well as in Killeen, Texas, other places. Come forward. You've got to be able to take that action. All right, I have with me Jose Guerrero, who works for the Department of Public Works for many years. Jose is in the chat. Jose, welcome. Jose is in the chat. And right, angry vet. Brian Stack seems not to be a good man. So, Jose, if you want to comment anything, you're in the chat. This gentleman who you're going to see right now. In Union City, New Jersey. He is one of many people who have said that Mayor Brian Stack somehow finds out they don't vote for him and then attempts to intimidate them once he finds that out. So, Jose, what did you receive when you didn't vote because you happen to be out of town? And somehow Mayor Stack mysteriously finds out you didn't vote for him, and then what does he do?
I received a phone call, and the phone call was, why was it that I did not vote and that my name was not on the ballot, on paper, or so on, whatever machine.
And who called you? Who called you?
The mayor called me. The mayor Brian Stack called me.
Right, so Mayor Brian Stack called you personally?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He called me and told me.
What did he say?
He called me and asked me why was it that I didn't vote and why my name was not on paper. And I had told him that I was out of town due to the fact that my daughter was sick and that we was in Philadelphia. And his answer was that he was going to send me voting invalid by paper so that I can vote and send it in. Paperwork came in, I sent it in, but then my question to myself was, how was it that he knew that I didn't vote at that proper moment? How did he get the information, and where this information came from? Because I do believe if you don't vote, you don't vote. You know what I'm saying? Next year comes whatever.
Well, here's the thing. Do you have a right not to vote as an American, a free American, Jose?
I do believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. You have a right to vote or not to vote. It's up to you. And it's none of the mayor's freaking business whether you vote or not. And the fact that he contacted you personally. Hey, I somehow miraculously know because I'm checking out on my Department of Public Works person, Jose here, and I'm personally going to find out, why didn't you vote? And then he sends you a ballot. And I don't even know if that's legal. And even if it is, that reeks of intimidation. And how did you feel when you received this personal phone call from your boss doing an inquisition that you didn't vote? How did that feel?
I felt some type of way. And then on the voting, when you do go to the voting machine, when you go inside, they tell you, oh, this is the side that you vote for. You have to vote.
Pause there. This is huge, Jose. So when you go there, who is telling you where to, who to vote for? Who says that?
And you have the individuals that are in the voting booth that are helping them for the voting. There's trailers that come in. They got the machines. The machines that are there. You have people, that are here that are working for him. And when you go in there, they tell you, okay, fine. You have, I believe there's like 2 or 3 columns, column A, B, and C. So once you go in there, you have to remember column A. Why do I have to go to column A? Supposedly, if I don't want a column A.
This is explosive. They shouldn't. And by the way, what was Brian Stack doing right in front of a voting trailer? That's the trailers. He spends I understand, I don't know, $1 million or something to get trailers to vote in. Mike, can you believe that? There are places, local places you can vote in, but he brings trailers in little tiny enclosed spaces and telling people, according to Jose Garrido, that they got to vote in column A. Is that nuts?
Yeah, that's against the law. To forcibly make somebody vote for you, that's going to lead down election fraud. Just about how many other people he did that to, not just Jose, right. But
no, he's just the first to come forward. Mike and all of our viewers here, I have had numerous people after Jose's video aired. I think it was 2 days ago. Numerous people have given me the same exact story, including some people. Other people who were there in other capacities during voting. So anyone, if you're a state senator watching this, if you're a prosecutor, if you are a state assemblyman, lawyer, American citizen, Union City, anywhere, you can open up an investigation. And Samantha, if you can put that in there, the great rabble-riser, and in the chat, this needs to be investigated. Is it so or is it not? I don't know. But it has to be investigated. Go ahead, Mike.
No, 100% on that one. It's something that needs to be investigated. It's something that can't just be pushed away to the wayside, especially as this video and those videos get more traction. Hopefully you get more and more people reaching out saying, hey, I want to be anonymous, but I want to tell you my story as well, because that's what it takes.
Yep. And take someone like Jose Garrido here, and he's got something in the chat here. Excuse me. And let me find it here. It says, Leroy, for years, this man has been driving the people and buying them. this has to be investigated. And any other newspapers or media outlets who are watching this now, you need to do your own investigation of this. I'm the one who uncovered this, which is, I didn't really uncover it because it's not been hidden. This has been wide open for decades now. But what happens, these politicians, like allegedly Mayor Brian Stack, they don't get any accountability, and they just keep getting bigger and more blatant and blatant with their corruption. And just like with Mayor Colleen. And I'm just going to finish this, and we're gonna go to Colleen and your videos now, Mike.
Obviously, it is illegal to tell you who to vote for. They're saying column A, and does Mayor Brian Stack happen to be in column A by chance?
Yes, he is.
All right, so I want to be super clear because this is explosive. This is huge, Jose. And so you go there, and some election worker is telling you to vote for column A.
Column A, you have to vote for column A. If you refuse to go to column A, you cannot vote. You will be assisted out of the trailer, and you cannot go back into the trailer. You have to vote for column A.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
I am Leroy
Bring it
Truth
off,
for Leroy
Skelton.
Truth Investigations.
And yeah, these are explosive allegations, Mike. I mean, this is huge. It screams it has to be federally investigated against. Because what I keep hearing, Mike, is that Mayor Brian Stack is not just the mayor, of course. He's also the state senator, and he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He doesn't even have a college degree. He's not a lawyer. Yet he's overseeing this committee where there are lawyers. So he even picks the Attorney General of New Jersey, I hear. So basically, everyone allegedly is bought and sold. This has to be investigated on a federal level. So,
Yeah, and that's what these investigations are all about, is as they get exposed in other, because some of these stories start out by just YouTubers or small news groups, and then whenever it gets to that point, it gets to the national news, and when it gets to national, then somebody pays attention. And what you're doing and what we've been doing is trying to get it to that point. If I knew somebody at Fox right now, they'd be picking up a lot of these stories that are happening throughout this. I mean, some of them are right now being exposed, but they've been going on for so long. They've been, in Colleen, it's been like that for like 3 or actually 8 years or something like that. Dalton, Illinois, it's been ongoing since the mayor up there took office. She's just been all this is starting to come out, and now it's rampant everywhere. We're starting to see it everywhere.
right. But we the people have the power to change it. And someone said there's a problem with my audio. I think it may be that when I'm talking, it's coming through yours. You have your speaker on, Mike? Other than your, you have just regular, but you don't have YouTube open on your computer, right?
No, nothing else.
You mute them. Okay. And so Scalzo will mute you when you're not talking. I'll mute you when you are, because there's some weird feedback comments on people that mentioned that. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there. But let's go to Scalzo. Let's go to Colleen, and we're gonna show that firstly. What's the main one? The main one, which was Tyrant, not Tyrant one. It was council member. Yeah.
All right. It's okay. There's a way to change the law. There's a way to do things. You don't do it. You do whatever you want to do, not what we want to do, not what the law says you have to do. The fact that you look like you're an astronomer right now and not giving me eye contact, that's very disrespectful.
You have 2 minutes and 4.
This is Mayor Debbie Nash King, Colleen, New Jersey. Different body, different part of the country, same freaking thing. And I'll tell you what, the Armed Fishermen, since we're getting feedback, could you just unmute and unmute yourself? When you're ready to talk, just unmute.
That was the crazy thing. If you heard her, she was like, "Oh, you have 2 minutes and 15 seconds." He has a timer in front of him. What do you need to tell me? He's trying to just tell his story and how he feels about what's going on, because they've taken away their right to speak. Texas, they can open carry or conceal carry their firearms. They've taken that away, or at least the concealed, you can still conceal, but the open carry, who is she to say how they can do it? It's the state law, the way it is. It's not good.
No. And the thing is, they're not paying attention. When they're telling us how much time we have left, Mike, they're not paying attention to what we're saying. And I propose a law, Mike, right now. If any public official doesn't pay attention to us, interrupts us, and is rude to us, their election results should be null and void. That's a proposal I make, we the people, because if they don't respect us, then they're not serving us. And they're not serving our interests, obviously, right, Mike? They're serving their interests.
Yeah. In Colleen, it's about their interests, because like when they vote, their entire, just about every vote I've ever seen them take, it's unanimous. It's either all yay or all nay. And I've very rarely ever see that unless they're all in cahoots. And the same thing, the mayor, they seem to flip-flop seats there. Mayor goes in just before they term out, they'll drop out, bring the pro tem mayor in, they get elected, and then they go to their council seat. You know, and it's a revolving door in Colleen. And a lot of these politicians have been there for 10, 20 years, and they just keep flip-flopping seats from one to the next.
Right. They do it everywhere. And to compare, this is a tale of two cities with alleged corruption. Did you know, everyone, Mayor Brian Stack is not the mayor, especially if you're from Union City here. He's not the mayor. He's a commissioner. I believe he's one of 5. And they all have the same power. And if someone from Union City, right, what commissioner is he? Public safety. I think he's the public safety commissioner. And I believe they select the mayor. The people don't actually vote for a mayor. The 5 commissioners vote for the mayor. And as we talked earlier, Mike, just like in Colleen, they all vote yes, they all vote no together. And when everyone is agreeing in a room or a group of people, it means only one person is doing the thinking. So it's Mayor Debbie Nash King in Colleen. It's Mayor Brian Stack in Union City, New Jersey. Bottom line. And John Denicola just wrote here, if they are discussing votes before they are voting and how they are voting is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. How do I know that they're breaking the law? They're politicians for the most part. It's just craziness. And also, anyone wants to do a super chat or a super thanks, appreciate it. And also, we have PayPal. John, thanks for putting those links, PayPal, Cash App as well. And let's continue.
15 seconds.
Okay. Yes, you can laugh, Mrs. Mayor. Okay. Channel 10 already caught your smug behavior.
Hey, when you get up here and address us, you can say whatever it is within the context of the agenda.
It's a broad topic.
Hey,
I realize that maybe.
Want to say something, Mike?
They just don't understand. He's trying to talk about it, and they just interrupt. They don't stop. Like this happened, and up until they kicked out the public comment, this has been ongoing. There's months of this, and there's no way to stop them because they're going to do what they want.
Right. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not the United States of America. When we have local government elected representatives of us act like this, so smug, like this guy, I love this line, like it looks like you're taking a course in astronomy there. They're rolling their eyes at him. It's null and void. Get out of here. Get out of here. You don't deserve to be in that seat saying you're representing us. And as the citizens, this is funny. The Citizens Broadcasting, I just saw this. They're killing democracy in Killeen, Texas. We got to get a T-shirt of that and a mug made up of that. And Mike, that's funny. And continuing.
Difficult for you to understand?
Just calm down.
That's more of our money due to your egos and irresponsibility.
Madam Secretary. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
By the way, these meetings are so freaking boring. They generally are. They are not public speakers, any of these people. Mayor, Madam Secretary. I'm going to age 47 years while I wait for the answer.
Mayor, let him go. Let him go, Mayor.
What's going on? Really silly, actually.
All right. And is there any more in this video you want people to see?
Oh, no. And just so that people understand what happened, if you go towards the end of the video, that the mayor, he's the assistant mayor, basically. He basically walks off and he goes after this guy.
Where's it happen? Right here?
And, yep, right about there. And if you see the guy over here to the right, in the right-handed part of the screen, keep going. It's almost towards the end.
Okay. Let me know when to stop.
Right there. That's good.
Okay.
Do you really want to take this there?
Let it go.
Please. We're in control and can manage the situation and let some people.
I don't issue and you don't know how that affects people and you expect them not to respond.
He was the
You don't know how he feels about that situation, and that's exactly the response that you're getting.
Everybody calm down. Please calm down. Please calm down. Mayor Pro Tem, go back to the dais. Please, Mayor Pro Tem, you put them in Jefferson. Please.
Keep going or stop?
No, that's good. And pretty much the one thing, if you look in the right-hand corner, there was a police officer and a fire marshal, and they just stand there. This guy goes from the dais all the way to approach this guy in a fashion, and it's like you can see them. They're right over there in the right-hand corner, and nobody's stopping them. Like they're just like, do whatever you want. Get in a fight in the middle of a council meeting. This is a council member about to attack somebody.
And again, rules for thee, not for me. That is it again and again and again. So we exposed this right now. Mike has been following the story, and Mike has been asking people, get this out. Other channels, get this out, and a number of other channels. I picked it up, and thanks to the Liberty Cause for connecting Mike and I together. And some other channels have picked it up and are doing a great job, exposing this so-called Mayor Debbie Nash King.
And just so everybody knows, I've only been on this for 4 days. I was watching CJ Grisham, and I was watching his live stream. He's a good friend of mine. And I was like, what's going on? And then I see all this, and next thing you know, I'm calling him like, hey, man, I'm going to steal a little bit of your video. And then I started diving into it. And I got into 2 videos that turned into about right around 17, 18 hours of me just binge watching these council meetings.
Wow. Yeah. It takes a lot of research. And Full Court Press, I see you're here. You're going to be joining me, Full Court Press. So make sure to email me. I want to talk with you. Email me at leroytruth247@gmail.com. I'll put my email in the comments right now. And I don't know, Brian, here's the deal, is still here, but I'd like to talk with you after the show as well about a story I'd like you to your support on. And so thanks, Galzo. LeroyTruth247@gmail.com. Anyone have a story? Anyone in Union City, New Jersey, contact me. Confidential. Also, if they want to contact you about Colleen, who do they, or what's the email?
The Armed Fisherman, the channel name, all one word, @gmail.com.
Simple. So you have any updates on Colleen, whether you're in Colleen, around Colleen, in the United States,
or anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Anywhere in the world, doesn't matter. We're all one people here. All right. And so next I want to get into, we're going to get into, there's 2 more parts, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciate you all staying with us on this beautiful Tuesday evening. We're going to show some of the clip of the no carrying. You're not allowed to open carry. And I want you to talk more about your Second Amendment work. And then we're going to open it up to phone calls. So about 5-10 minutes, we're going to be opening up to phone calls. And the phones will be live, and you can ask questions to the Armed Fisherman, make comments, myself, whatever you like to say there. All right, so no open carry.
The hearing of the public.
So set this up for us. So I think it's a short video. No open carry. So what are they going to say here, Mike?
Not the open carry video.
Oh, that's not the one.
Because it starts out with I believe it was with
here we go. We found another.
Yeah, fast forward because this guy right.
Pass it?
No, that's not it.
I got 3 videos.
Yeah, I think it's the last video.
I got Tyra Mayor of Colleen. I got council member, and I got no open carry.
Yeah, no open carry.
Yeah, that was this one here.
The hearing of the public is now open. You're not going to sit here and assault me.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Oh, it must be in there, Scalzo.
regarding
Right here.
free speech and the First Amendment, since we're talking about this here today. And there's a statement here that keeps ringing true as we're hearing all these comments. It says the categories of unprotected speech include obscenities.
All right, where is it? Do we have to skip ahead, Mike?
No, this is, I don't know what video I sent you, because this one is where this is the one that they're taking away the right to free speech. And this guy right here, Ramon Alvarez, he's a piece of work because he's trying to insinuate that, you know, certain words and things that you say aren't protected free speech. And he's like, I got this from the United States Gov. And I'm like, that is not how free speech works, bud.
Here,
and I don't know what he's reading, but
wow. Let's play a little bit of this. This sounds like it's important.
Buckle up, and here we go. We found another city girl mayor.
Oh, by the way, if you are not subscribed to the Armed Fisherman, please subscribe to him. He is awesome. You've got almost 180,000 subscribers at this point and growing fast. So again, he's awesome. He's a gentleman. He's smart. He's grounded and professional. And I'm honored to be able to connect with you, Mike.
But this one's in Texas.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I'm not an attorney, nor do I pretend to be one, but I do want to read directly from whitehouse.gov regarding free speech and the First Amendment, since we're talking about this here today. And there's a statement here that keeps ringing true as we're hearing all these comments. It says the categories of unprotected speech include obscenities, defamatory speech, false advertisements, true threats, fighting words, incitement, fraud, and the list goes on and on. So again, I want to reiterate that for the public is look up what free speech means as you're hearing these comments.
Do I need to get your attention like that job you had before politics? Yeah, that secret's coming out soon.
I love that. And I saw the article. You probably read the article, Mike, that the mayor goes off on this guy that she makes all kinds of allegations. He's like money, and I think she alluded that she thought he was alluding that she was a stripper to get $1, and he was alluding that if you have money, you will get the attention of the mayor. But she told a newspaper, and the newspaper just printed her crazy idea there. Oh, she must think I'm a stripper. Maybe she did that in a previous life, and I don't fault you if you did. It's all good. It's not a profession.
Yeah, but it got her attention.
Right.
That was, and that's the thing. These council members are just as soon as certain people get up there, their heads go down, and they don't pay attention. And that's the most disrespectful way for a council to treat the public. Yeah. Even if you know what you're about to hear, you're not going to like. Guess what? Take some constructive. It may not be constructive, but at least take some criticism. But the problem is when it's 5-6 people all saying the same thing. I mean, come on. There seems to be a trend there that,
Right, you're absolutely right. And there was a great quote I heard once, Mike, where one day there was this wise master, and he was teaching his students in front of him. And the town full suddenly ran up to the master and is screaming at him and calling him all kinds of names and berating him and being really disrespectful. And the master didn't say a word, and then just let the fool talk. And then the fool eventually got tired and left. And all of the master's students were surprised. They said, "Master, why did you not stop that man, or with your incredible wisdom and eloquence, put him in his place? Because he was saying all these untrue things about you." And the master said, "No, is that even with a fool, I can learn something, because there may be one single speck of truth in there." So he was willing to hear all the things that were not true so he can improve himself. And that's the same exact perspective, the mindset that the politicians need to cultivate to actually be effective and not self-serving. You agree with that, Mike?
100%. There, even in my videos, I've had some. I will say some of my not best days, but everybody has a bad day. But I also learned from that bad day, saying, "Hey, instead of being more reactional, take a deep breath and just kind of, listen and be like, all right, they're just mad because I'm out here carrying a gun, or they're mad because of something I said. And if they got something to say, I'm all ears. But that's one thing is I do try to talk to people and say, hey, maybe we can have a conversation. There was a point where I was just holding a sign that says, hey, let's talk about the Second Amendment. And I had some guy just berate me for 5 minutes, and I'm sitting there listening to him like, well, that's the conversation I want to have. So do you want to have a seat and let's talk about this? No, you don't want to listen to me. But I was the one sitting there listening to him for the last 5 minutes, and he didn't want to give me one.
Right. We can't learn from each other unless we talk to each other. That's why some people ask me, are you Republican? Are you Democrat? No, I'm not either. Most of them are just full of shit. And I started an unofficial party called the Sensibilitarian about 10 years ago. People have been asking me to run for office for years. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. But every perspective has some validity. There may be a Democrat idea that's great, a progressive idea, a Republican idea, conservative idea, libertarian idea, just something that has no label. That's how we're going to create a much more effective government, not by creating these polarized sides and saying, I'm right because I believe what the tenets of Democrats say or the tenets of Republicans say. No one has all the answers. We got to combine them all, right?
Yeah. And that's what I think about local government. Local government usually is supposed to be like nonpartisan. It's not about Democrat, it's not about Republican. But even though they are supposed to not, they still have, outside of that office, they still lean some of them do, some of them don't. But I'm just saying generally, they always have a certain degree of which way they want to lean.
Right.
I even myself, I learned, I was trying to run for state representative, and it was something you said earlier. It's some of these politicians take it as what they want to do. And after I was out of that race, I learned that I was that same person. When people were like, oh, what are your plans or something? And I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Instead of asking them, what would they like? And that's where the public comment comes into effect, is even though you, like you said, you hear it for 3 minutes, you might find 10 seconds that are actually something that are beneficial to make change.
All right, absolutely. And then one more thing before we open the phone lines up, and appreciate all of you being with us here. And we appreciate you, we respect you, we appreciate the comments that tell us you support the work we do. We appreciate the comments that say that you don't, and how we can get better. But be specific. If you're going to say we're not doing a good job, please help us. I want to get better, Mike. I know you want to get better every day. And every human being is a work in progress. It's never done our whole lives. So,
none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and if you learn from your mistake, you'll probably never make that mistake again. But if you continue to make the mistake, then then there's a problem with you that you didn't learn something. But right. I've taken bumps and bruises along my way, and I've learned from them, and thankfully it hasn't gotten me hurt. So that's all I care. That's all what I care about. It's never hurt anybody.
Right. And the bottom line is we all have blind spots. That's how we help each other. My blind spots are different than your blind spots, armed fisherman. So you could point out things to me like, Leroy, you do this, this and this pretty good, but here's some things you can improve. I didn't see that. Thank you. Because everyone else sees our blind spots, ladies and gentlemen, but us. This includes all of us, how each of us can get better. Ask your friends, hey, what can I do to be a better friend? Ask your wife or your husband, what can I do to be a better wife, husband? And employee, if you're a boss, if you're a manager, I own three or four businesses, I lose count. But I ask my employees, how can I be a better boss? How can I be a better manager? They already know our blind spots. It's not like they suddenly see flaws in us because we've asked them the question. They already see them. They're talking about them. That's how we get better. So 2 things we're going to do. Next, I want you to share a bit more about the importance of the Second Amendment and how you have exercised that over and above what most auditors do. They just have a camera, but you have a camera and a gun. And why do you do that? And then I'm going to play a short video from Lackluster that covered my story in Cold Spring. And we're going to open up the phones.
For me, it all started one day, late night, under a bridge. I knew about the law, was scared to kind of use that law. And up until I got almost robbed by two guys at 3 o'clock in the morning, they were asking for my stuff and my money. And ever since that day, it was carry the gun. And that's what it was more about, the protection half. And then I was in Miami. It was Miami Beach. I was out on a pier, and we have a little pamphlet. It's got the law written all over it. Park ranger says we can't do it. We're trying to tell him we can. He calls the cops. Next thing you know, I'm looking down the barrel of 3 guns. And that's when I was like, this has to change, because somebody's going to get hurt by doing this. And it was going out like every week, every weekend, 2-3 times a week, just going fishing wherever, and I've pretty much covered the eastern part of Florida and some parts of the West. I've been all over. And over 4 or 5 years, it was that training, or the education of my videos. And now it's leaked into it's part of their basic training. They're like, hey, this is the law. The same law that allows the police officers to carry their gun is the same law that allows me to openly carry my firearm while I'm fishing, hunting, and camping. And that was my goal from the beginning. Like, at first it was just, I didn't even care about being a YouTuber. Like, I wasn't getting any views or nothing on my channel. But when that day with the cops and the guns, I went from a couple hundred to almost like 3,000 in almost overnight. And it wasn't that I was grasping onto that attention, but it got the attention of that law. And so I used that platform, and here I am today at 178, almost 178, 170 something thousand. I didn't expect any of this and didn't ask for any of it. It just it ballooned to where it was, and I'm not complaining. I love it. I love being able to educate, and now I can focus and have a platform to expose more. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, was exposing the law so that people knew. Now I'm exposing corruption, and who knows where it's going to lead me next.
Right. Who knows where it will lead next? It unfolds. It's unfolding for us, the work we do. And Mike, and we just met, really talked yesterday for the first time. And you don't know, but I am a major, staunch Second Amendment supporter and activist. And I grew up on 55 acres of forest land. And when I was 6 years old, my father gave me my first rifle, taught me how to use it responsibly, taught me how to shoot accurately. And every year after that, for Christmas, I would get a bigger gun. And I became I'm a sharpshooter. And so, and I teach friends too, how to use guns responsibly. And that weapons are the biggest difference between being taken over by a government and not. And some people say this, Mike, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. And then we're going to open up the phone lines. I'll play the other video scouts another time. And so many people say, oh, when they're trying to do the gun control, shall not be infringed, period. Every single gun law is an assault on the First Amendment. Every one. There cannot be a single, well, there's sensible gun control laws. There can be none. Who's to say what's sensible and not? And every single law is an infringement upon the First Amendment. And for decades, Mike, I was so excited that someday I'm going to get an NRA card. And one day I got it. And it actually got me out of a ticket. State trooper pulled me over. And I was in the wrong, but I just showed him my NRA card, and I guess he was a supporter, let me go from a ticket. But I was so proud to get that card. Then I found out the NRA ain't so good. That I believe they're the ones that came up with the background checks where they're like, oh, see what we did? See what we did? The Second Amendment is black and white. It's really simple. And when people say, oh, it doesn't protect you from our government. They've got tanks, they got nuclear bombs, they got submachine guns. Well, guess what? How did the military operation go in Afghanistan? There are people in caves. We had tanks and guns and nuclear weapons. We fought for 20 freaking years and we failed. And this is no diss upon any service member. This was the people who were in charge of what you were doing there. And I respect people in the military. You're not used properly, but I absolutely respect people in the military. But after 20 years, what was the Taliban were back in like a week or something. They had, no major weapons. They beat us. And so if people think you having our small arms fire, whether they're handguns or rifles, whatever it is, doesn't create a check and balance with the government, you got to, another thing coming. What's your thought on that, Mike?
For anybody that has that argument, they're not dropping nuclear bombs on their own United States. It's never going to happen. And then you have to think about how many of those servicemen are actually going to actually listen to that. Sure, there's going to be some, but I guarantee there's going to be a lot more that are like, that this isn't what I signed up for. These people aren't. They say we're going to uphold and defend enemies, foreign and domestic. Even if there's domestic ones, we're talking about bad people. If we, the people, stood up to the government today, they have nothing for us. There's too many of us, and there's not enough of them. And I'm not saying that that's what I want, but as they, like you said, that shall not be infringed. They keep coming up, ATF, all these alphabet, they keep coming up with laws that only hinder the Second Amendment. And I always say, do you trust the government? Well, not really. But here you are saying you want to give them all the guns. Like, what kind of logic is that? And then it's like, oh, what other, your freedom of speech to say what you're saying right now. Do you understand that the Second Amendment is actually what protects that? Because you're going to use your First Amendment against the government and magically without a weapon to fight back against them, they're going to listen to you? Come on.
Right.
The First Amendment was first because it gives you those freedoms. The Second Amendment protects the rest. Everything else behind it protects it.
Yeah. And most people don't understand that. And there's a lot of stuff. One last thing before you open up the phone. I'd like you to say something after this. Is that, can you mute yourself? There, we're getting feedback. And that's what my train of thought there. No. So we're talking about Second Amendment, and it's on the edge of my tongue here. And people talk, or the media talks about gun violence. And that is one of the easiest ways to convince the general population that we have a problem with gun violence. Something, Brian, I don't know if you're still here. Here's the deal. If you can chime in on this, is there is no such thing as gun violence. There is violence. It is a tool. I'm not saying it's good, but it's a tool. We have knife violence. You know how many people are killed with knives every year? We have car violence. People who purposely, intentionally run people over. We have fist violence. Should we outlaw fists? And we have hammer violence. Should we outlaw hammers? We've got to look at the source of this, the core of this, and stop vilifying the tools, because that's just taking we the people's power away to check and balance with the government. So it's a complete misnomer. It's a scam. And even some Republicans I've heard say, we got to reduce gun violence. Reduce violence. Stop vilifying the weapon. And Mike, can you talk for a couple of minutes? I got to actually step out just for a couple of minutes, and I'll be right back. So what are your thoughts on that?
I totally 100% agree. The tool isn't the problem, it's the person. And if the person has, there are evil people in this world, and we have to come to grips with that. I can come to grips with it. That's why I carry a firearm. That's why in a nutshell, it's for my protection, my family's protection, and anybody in the surrounding area that I can protect, I would try to protect. It's not that I'm saying I'm running into every gunfight, but if something were to happen, that's what I would try to be there for. And not everybody's going to be like that. Some people, they're going to be in that flight mode. And everybody has a different perspective on what they would do on that situation. But for me, I don't depend on the government. I don't want to depend on the police to be my protectors. And I'm sure most of you don't think that if we don't know, the police have no obligation to protect us. It's Warren versus District of Columbia, I believe on the East Coast. There's a couple different court cases, but the police have no obligation to protect us. And if that's not something saying, hey, I need something to protect myself because it's going to take the police minutes to where you need seconds. And, you know, there's nothing better than an equalizer than a firearm, or, you know, even a knife. Having something, or a stun gun, you know, tear gas, something, having something's better than nothing. And, you know, that's really what I feel about the Second Amendment, is that it's meant for everybody, but not everybody has to use it. Should they? Sure. But it's not meant for every single person. Not everybody loves guns. The crazy thing is, my parents are in the military, were in the military, and my dad friggin', he hates guns. He sees what I do, and he's like, every Thanksgiving and Christmas, oh, don't come over here and talking about guns or nothing. So.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were on. I'm putting my mic on.
Yeah, no, I'm like, what happened? It's all good, man. I'm just glad you're back.
You got a behind the scenes moment, ladies and gentlemen. That's funny. I'm red now. Anyway, I'm back. So lastly, you were saying your father doesn't like guns, and he was in the military.
Yeah, he's not a big fan. We don't talk about it. I respect his wishes. I don't even bring a gun into his house because, you know, it's his house and his rules. And as a kid, I used to break his rules. So as a grown man now, I'll respect his rules.
Right. Well, excellent. Well, let's open up the phone lines now for 5-10 minutes. We'll see who calls in. And Scalzo has the number on there, 305-707-8325. Operators are standing by. Ask the Armed Fisherman whatever you like. Please subscribe to the Armed Fisherman if you are not. I love you, man. I think you're awesome. I'd love to do more work together. And
appreciate it.
And united we stand, and alone we fall, united we stand. So the more of us work together for the common good and for freedoms, it's just going to keep expanding. And so phone lines are open. And let's see. How about now? Liberty Calls just said my phone wasn't, or my sound wasn't working. Put it in the chat if my sound sounds good. 1 if it does, 2 if it doesn't. First caller. Hello, welcome. You're on the line with Leroy Truth Investigations. And what's your name? What would you like to say?
Leroy, hi.
Hey there.
Thank you very much for taking this call. Hope the sound's coming in clearly.
All right. Yeah, so far it sounds good. Yep, go ahead.
Excellent. I wanted to just acknowledge you before I continue about my gripe with the Union City mayor, about how you were talking about how people need to reflect on themselves as we grow and we learn. And, we have to look at our blind spots. And I thought that was an outrageous way of kind of taking a look at life, because that really is a very mature way of thinking. And I certainly agree with you in that area. So thank you for bringing that out.
You're welcome.
On a side note. So I just, before we also begin, I wanted to mention, I had sent you several emails. I'm going to remain somewhat anonymous, only that, if there's anything further to go on, if we ever continue to communicate, I think that would be in the best interest. And I wanted to just also bring forward some of my thoughts, some of the things I know about Union City, having had a position in that area for several years, and, dealing with some of the pains and agonies of, that community and the political environment. So I don't want to take too much time. I could talk forever. As you know, there's so much info. So and I also could mention a name, or at least one name I know on that picture that you wanted to investigate that was put out there.
Yes.
One of the people very, very pertinent to one of them, one of the aspects about why the corruption is so rampant in Hudson County and this area. So Union City, New Jersey was at one point considered an Abbott school district back in the early 2000s, maybe late 1990s. And if you don't know what that is, an Abbott school district is basically a district that at the time there was a No Child Left Behind Act, which required schools to make sure students were able to pass certain tests. Well, the city of Union City said, well, we can't meet those standardized testing because we don't have the infrastructure in the schools, the books, the teachers, and stuff to get our kids to meet those levels of, those grades. So there was many other school districts, I don't know, maybe 20 throughout the entire country that also were in a similar situation. So the government decided to pool a fund of tax money, not from each state, but from all the states, into a special fund called an Abbott Fund, which was like, I don't know how many billions of dollars, but a very large amount of money. And so they were awarded Union City, maybe for 5 to 7 years, a $305 million budget, which if you were at that time in late 2000, early 2000s, late 90s, in a really affluent area, let's say in New York, you might be getting a $60 million budget per year. So their budget was almost 5 times that, and they were going to get that for 5 to 10 years. And that was when you started to have this big nefarious kind of animal entrance to enter the area to try to get their hands on that kind of money, which was channeled, I guess, through the school system and school districts. So that's one of the major things that begins, I guess, this nefarious situation. Mayor Stack was brought up, I believe, in Union City all his life, and his political career, I think, was prompted by Ronald Dario, which was political Republican in the area, and he also has Ronald Dario is also somebody who has an aquatic center on 47th Street that he donated to the city, which I can't imagine what's going on there with steering money and using that facility as a way of ascertaining tax money, which is what this is all about. It's using, people of, low income, people of immigration status, and all the different, resources that the government allots to these types of people, and how they're able to steer money from the taxes of the larger portion of the state to these people. So that's one of the main things I think goes on in this community. So as I was saying, his political career was kind of prompted. Ron Dario is a guy who has also a son who's a lawyer. His name is the same thing, Ron Dario.
Ron Dario Jr.
From Hackensack. Yes, he's from Hackensack. And I believe he was also promoted to a position to be Bergen County prosecutor, which coincides with Senator Stack, the double dipping guy that, he made it past that grandfather position, that he was able to have some sort of a relationship with him and getting him those positions. Again, these are all allegations, as you claim, and I claim in advance, which I didn't, but I say now. These, again, are all allegations. But there's definitely a connection there.
Yeah, I got to stop you, Greg. I got to move on, but I want to talk with you more. And email me. We communicated a bit. I get so many emails. I've gotten hundreds of emails from Union City over the last 2 weeks. So I want you to email me again. Just put it front and center that you were on the show, and that way I can go through the thread. But I really appreciate you. I definitely want to talk with you. And before you go, something I found out, Mike, and ladies and gentlemen, is that this little tiny 1 square mile, Union City, New Jersey, is 1 square mile. That's it. The most densely populated city in the United States of America. I just found out today they receive $339 million toward education. That's over $250 million. Oh, yeah. And here's another secret. Taxes have not gone up a penny. School taxes, not in 1 year, not in 2 years, in 27 years. You know why? From what I hear, allegedly, because Brian Stack is not just a mayor, he's a state senator. But he's a state senator of Jersey City. Their taxes have gone up. He's a state senator of Hoboken, for example. Their taxes have gone up, but Union City is his baby. And you know that Union City residents only pay approximately 5.8% of the taxes for the school board. And the average cost per student is $20,900 per student. And you can get a freaking private education for that. And so it's not, just to give you a few facts and figures. And then
I want to throw in one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. One last thought. Go ahead.
I wanted the previous superintendent back in 2014, I think was on. But he finally resigned and was getting like $167,000 in his retirement fund. And then he was hired after this big corruption scandal back in 2008, which you have to look into about the housing and stuff like that. But he was put in the position of housing authority, like head, and was making $150,000, and he was a superintendent of schools for like 20-something 5 years. And finally he got out of that, and because he was helping probably steer all that stuff, and again, allegations. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Wow,
what's going on, and
right.
The ties of everybody.
Well, let's continue. I got to let you go now, but let's continue. I want you
to.
I
love you so much for all this work you're doing, and God bless you.
Oh, my pleasure. God bless you. I'm not stopping until it's all exposed. And
hey, listen, I'm here to give you my voice. I can't do anything. So,
all right. Thank you. I got Jose on the line now. Thanks so much. All right. Jose Guarida, who you saw in the video in the beginning of the show, is here. And Jose, I got to keep things short for everybody, but I want you on here. So thank you so much for being who you are, being courageous. I love you. I'm so glad we got to know each other and spend some time together. And what would you like to share today?
I would like to share that I'm listening to the conversation of both parts over here and the other female mayor and stuff like that. And I've seen the videos on that. And this is like really outrageous. You know what I'm saying? People really need to step up and really need to open up their eyes and really need to fight and stand up for themselves and come out and let the public know that, you know, if you don't step up and you don't do what you have to do, nothing's going to get accomplished.
Right. You're absolutely right. And as I said earlier, Jose, you did it. You did it. You're the first. It just takes one. As Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Be the first voice to come forward. And I invite anyone else in Union City, come forward. If you want to be confidential, I hold that sacredly. I will not ever reveal any information about you. If you want to come forward publicly like Jose, please do so as well. Either way. And so what else would you like to share, Jose, before we go?
No, I would like to share because I was hearing a gentleman, I heard your exposed man and the gentleman exposed man. I would like to know, let the public know also that, you know what I'm saying, I did work for law enforcement and I also was shot, you know, 5 times, was struck twice. And, you know what I'm saying, and the Second Amendment is something that is really something that we have to stick for, we have to fight for, we have to stand up for, and we have to do what we have to do to proceed and fight and stand up no matter what, by all means.
Absolutely. All right, Jose, thank you so much for your courage. You know, we will continue to support you in every way possible. And if there's any retaliation at all, guess what? That's going to be a new freaking video, Mr. Brian P. Stack. And so I dare you retaliate against anyone who comes forward. I dare you. And that will be the biggest freaking news because you cannot retaliate against anyone in darkness and shadows anymore. All right, Jose, onward and upward.
Leroy, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. All right, now we have Rabble Rouser on here. And so just let me call her back. Any comment on that while I'm calling here? Oh, here we go. And Mike, any comment on that? Hold on, Rabble Rouser.
No, that thank you, Jose, because that's what it takes. It takes somebody sometimes it's just one person. And like you said, it took one person, and then next thing you know, your inbox is full of people coming out the woodwork. So
right.
More power to everybody, and just stand up for what you believe in.
Absolutely. And I'm going to get Rabble Rouser on the phone, and we'll take maybe one more call, then we'll
Please leave your message.
You know, I just called you back there, Rabble Rouser. Call you one more time. You can call in again if I don't reach you.
Please leave your message.
Okay, we'll see if she calls back in. And so we'll leave the phone lines open 1 more minute here. And Whistleblower Act protects everyone. Marco, okay, Marco here. Someone named Marco says the Whistleblower Act protects everyone. You're right on, Marco. And if it doesn't, you let me know. Because anyone in Union City, New Jersey, in Killeen, Texas, if they retaliate against someone telling the truth, Killeen, Texas, call or email the Armed Fisherman at thearmedfisherman@gmail.com and email me at LeroyTruth247@gmail.com for Union City. They get away with retaliation, people like Mayor Brian Stack and Mayor, why is it hard to remember her name? Debbie Nash King. They get away with alleged corruption and retaliation because they do it in the dark. They pick you off and they vilify you. They destroy your credibility, or they try to. You contact us. We will tell your story. Retaliation can't happen when it's shown to the light. All right, here, this will be our last caller for the day. Rabble Rouser, hello there, welcome.
Hey, how are you? There's a delay on my television, so I didn't know. Well, sorry, we got the mix up. Hi, Michael. So very proud of you, man. Fellow chef over here. So I know what it's like to have to take criticism without walking up to people and charging them extra money for their horrible words, or to kick them out of our restaurant because they don't like what we have done. So I really appreciate you. Retaliation.
Thank you.
Am I being heard?
Yeah, he hears you. He's smiling broadly, but there's some echo. You have YouTube on in the background. You got to make sure you shut that off.
Yeah, I shut that off so I can't hear myself. So I'm just going to have a one-sided conversation here. Yes, Whistleblower Act is very much in play in any city where an employee turns in a person for malfeasance or breaking the law in the job. It does not protect citizens. That you have to file in federal court for. That's a completely different tort. But if anybody falls into that, let me know and I'll help them out. I'm here for anyone who needs any help in trying to figure out how to circumnavigate these situations. So feel free to reach out to Leroy Truth. And Leroy, are you going to be going down to Union City anytime soon so that perhaps we can get together and get some affidavits and some sworn statements on video? I think this could really be a very good documentary on a 1 square mile city that takes in more money than the entire state of New Jersey does. That's all I have to say for now because this is really weird for me. But again, thank you so much for everything you guys do.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you. And thank you, Sam. If you can hear this, Sam, that is Sam. And she got a number of pieces of information about Brian P. Stack tonight. So, and she's a great support, and she's she would support you as well. She really likes you as well, the Armed Fisherman. And she's the rabble rouser. So with that, last words before we end the night, Mike, what would you like to share? Last words for people to keep in mind and to go forth from this experience today.
We the people, our country is divided right now. We're so fighting. We the people need to stand up together. We need to stand together, and it's not that we need to fight, but when you see corruption, when you see something, you know how they say, see something, say something. If you see it, please reach out to us. It doesn't have to be just Colleen. It doesn't have to be just New Jersey or anywhere. It can be anywhere. If you see it, let us know. And if we can do something, if we can help expose it, we will. It starts with one, and then all we do is say, hey, share this, get this out there. And if we can share it and it gets into the YouTube and it gets out to national news, then we're winning. And you're winning when the council wants to shut your speech up. If they're trying to shut you down and completely silence you, you're winning at that point.
Right. Absolutely. Because how we know we are right and they are wrong is when they attempt to silence us. Because that's how we know they have something to hide. Because as the Armed Fisherman investigates Colleen and Mayor Debbie Nash King Moore, if she has nothing to hide, she has nothing to fear. As I continue my relentless, never-ending investigation of the government of Brian P. Stack, Mayor of Union City, New Jersey, if you have nothing to hide, Mayor Brian P. Stack, you have nothing to fear. It goes for Mayor Chado as well and anyone else. So that's it. If you have nothing to fear, you should be welcoming us. Brian, why don't you invite me to go into your office tomorrow? I love those glazed donuts that have the chocolate frosting from Dunkin' Donuts. I don't drink coffee. So Brian, invite me into your office tomorrow. We'll hang out. Tell me the truth. It kind of be like confession. You get it off, kind of get it off your chest. You'll feel better. I'm not a priest. I just play one on TV. And I'm not celibate. And I'm not going to be a priest. No way. But get it off your chest. And the mayor of Killeen, Texas, hey, pay for a ticket. You got lots of money. Pay for a ticket for the Armed Fisherman to come, take him out to dinner, wine and dine him, and confess. Confess your sins if you have any. And it'll feel good. And we'll respect you more for it. So here, invitation had. Anything else? Share that before we go, Mike?
No. Confessions are always good. Get it off your chest because the truth will set you free.
Yes. Amen,
let us know the truth. That's all we're asking. We're getting it from everywhere else, but you keep saying no. So you tell us the real truth, and it'll be a bunch of lies anyway, but I would love for them to talk. The more they talk, the more I want to listen.
Right, exactly. We're here. You want to be on a live stream with us? Killeen Mayor, Debbie Nash King. Well, let's do a live stream together with you. I tell you what, let's have Debbie Nash King and Mayor Brian Stack. And let's have the people, we the people. We don't even say anything. We'll just have the comments, and we'll read you the comments. We won't even say a word. And let them ask you the questions. Just answer honestly. Now, we will have you connected with a lie detector test and an expert, but you shouldn't have any fears about that, right? You're good with that. It's all good. So with that, I want to thank the armed fishermen so much. I love you. I think you're awesome. And this has been a really good show doing this together. I thank everyone who's attended this. Many more people are going to see this after it's uploaded to YouTube as a standalone. And I so appreciate everyone here, because alone we fall, united we stand. And as Martin Luther King said, the problem is not that we are outnumbered. The problem is that we are out-organized. Make sure to join the Army of Freedom. Mike, I started the Army of Freedom. And if you can ask your subscribers, viewers to join as well, it takes 6 seconds to join. It is free. And every week, starting next week, I will be sending an email contacting 2 politicians with a specific message. So instead of 1 call or 5 calls or 10 calls, they'll be getting hundreds of calls, specific politicians with a specific message. And as I say, 2 social media posts a week, 2 phone calls a week, and 2 emails a week will change the course of history with the American government. So thank you, everybody. Good night. God bless you. Thank you so much, Mike, and we'll see you next time.
And thank you very much, Leroy.
Oh, my pleasure. Oh, Angry Vet, thank you so much. I saw you give the 20 membership. All that. Thank you so much. I didn't see that. It's so generous of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.